Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Williams. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Williams. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Williams, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. As you notice, we didn't have our intro music today. We are having some technical difficulties at the station, but guess what? We are going to have a great show for you today because, as they say in what we're doing, the show must go on. What must happen again? The show must go on. ¿Qué está pasando? What's going to happen, Lupita? What has to happen?
The show must go on. We made it happen. We got some little intro music in. It's not your typical Politics Done Right intro, but it worked.
But you know what, man? I was kind of doing my shoulder. I kind of like the music.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
There's a Latin party.
What is it called?
It's Latin Party.
Latin Party, baby. Yeah. Latin Party.
Various
how
artists.
How you doing today, Lupita? Hey, Lupita. I saw you sitting down we have a very old building, folks, so the hot air comes out of the floor, right?
The floor, yes. It's like the vents, the air vents are on the floor.
And you're sitting near the air vent, so it blows right on you?
Yes, it felt so great and so toasty, but now I'm back in the cold studio. But I was there for an hour just sitting by the heater.
Oh, man, I tell you. But, folks, we are going to have a great show for you today. Lupita is warmed up, even though our temperature is dropping at about a degree.
My personality is warmed up. My energy is
warmed up. There you go. Anyhow, how was your week, Lupita?
It's pretty good. Was working, running a lot of errands because I leave to Cancun tomorrow.
Oh, I love Cancun.
I've never been, so I'm excited.
You've never been?
No.
Oh, Cancun is great. I mean, you're going to have fun out there. You're going to be on the beach and everywhere else.
Gonna leave this cold weather behind for a couple days.
But you know what? That's okay. You'll be back. You'll be back for our show on Tuesday, right?
Yes, I will.
All right, we'll be back. Anyhow, folks, title of the show today. Bloomberg and Patrick's reason for entering the presidential race is the height of presumption. And I forgot to put race in there. But anyhow, Michael Bloomberg and Deval Patrick believe the Democratic field is not adequate. They must be our lords and savior. What could really be the reason? What could really be the reason? It was reported recently by the New York Times that Michael, that these guys wanted to do it. But you know what? That was actually, Lupita, guess what I just did?
What'd you just do?
I just started the blog of the week instead of the entry to the show.
You're just excited to get to the blog of the week, aren't you?
I am just so excited to get to the blog of the week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start it this way and say, hey, the title of the show is similar, though, so that's not a big deal. It's
okay.
Bloomberg and Patrick, the elitists warning the Democratic field. Fear? Hell no. Hell no. We don't fear anybody trying to warn the Democratic Party to tell them, oh, you don't have the right candidates out there. Subtitle, Bloomberg and Patrick are strategic. They are there in case the propaganda from the establishment takes hold. We will make sure it does not. Bloomberg and Patrick entering the race may make some think conspiracy. It is not. But it is connected even if not intentional. So even though there's no real conspiracy about these two guys announcing that they are going to run kind of at the same time. Well, one announced, the other one, it's kind of like, oh, he's thinking about it. But they want that notion out there in the ethos. Today we will explore the audacity of being presumptuous. Democrats say they are happy with their current crop of candidates. But given that the sum of progressive polling points dramatically exceeds the center moderate lane, those driven by the plutocracy believe they must act. They must save the party from itself. No, no, no. We must save the country from them. So no, we don't need them to save the party from itself. We must save the party from them. They are the clear and present danger, not of the party, but of the American people altogether. Before I get to the program, I want to remind all our listeners that KPFT is a bastion of intelligent voices and programs. As a political activist myself, my favorites are Think Wing Radio with
Mike Koenig on Mondays at 3 p.m.
And then, of course, we have Open Journal with
Dwayne Bradley and crew. And you have to remind me when that one is.
That one is on Mondays at 6 p.m.
Yes,
You got it. There you
it.
go. And then, of course, we have Jazz Latino Afro-Cuban Latin Jazz at its very best, hosted by
Juan Flores, and occasionally, most of the time, me, when I'm not running late, at Tuesdays from 12 to 2.
But who is me?
Lupita.
Yes,
They should know, but I'll remind them.
Yeah, you got to remember. They have to remember who it's Lupita, man. It's Lupita. Anyhow, and of course, we love Jenner Asian Radio, a weekly radio program featuring an eclectic mix of Asian underground, Bagra, Bollywood, funk, Hindi, Rai, where ancient sounds meets future beats. And that is when again?
That's Tuesdays from 4 to 6, so that's right after this show.
Right after this show, folks. A great show. It's the one that keeps me dancing in the car when I'm heading back to Kingwood. You know, you have that traffic and you feel like, but then you have Jenner Asian Radio to keep you going from these guys. These guys really know what they're doing. Anyhow, check out our full schedule at kpft.org, where you can find programming from music to politics to medicine to the eclectic. KPFT is a listener-supported public community radio station. So please, 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 please remember that if you like what you hear, visit kpft.org and ensure we remain a strong, viable community radio station that provides news, programming, and information not influenced by whom again?
The corporatocracy.
Not influenced by the corporatocracy, baby. Not influenced by the corporatocracy, because we are only owed to you. We are only indentured to you. We are only responsible for coming to you with truthful information, with honest information, with information that others likely won't give you. So, what are your thoughts? Let's talk. Tag your tweets. Politics, hashtag politics done right. Hashtag politics done right. Please follow on Twitter, Egberto Willies. On Facebook, follow, or rather, like Politics Done Right. There's a page called Politics Done Right with Egberto Willies. And of course, on YouTube, you can always go to Egberto Willies, youtube.com/Egberto Willies. Go ahead and subscribe. We have a whole lot of stuff that we always have there. Anyhow, folks, let me tell you, before I get into the blog of the week, I want to pull up something here, because it turns out that DACA may be in trouble. It turns out DACA may be in trouble. It seems from what we're reading that the Supreme Court according to what we read, seems to be siding with the good old Trump administration. And that, it's a Supreme Court that was put out there by Dr. Trump. So that's not to be expected. It's funny because, I was talking to Juan earlier, who runs the Jazz Latino, and he said something funny, and I went and I threw it on my Facebook page right away. I had to do it, right? Because, and I'm back on my Facebook page looking for that thing because I want to read it so badly. So what I placed on my Facebook page is the following. Juan J. Flores, host of Jazz Latino, just cracked me up here at 90.1 FM KPFT Houston. I told him SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States, seemed inclined to allow Trump to end DACA, and I wondered what will be the reaction of Latinos for Trump. He said, Egberto, Latinos for Trump is like roaches for raid. Man, I couldn't stop laughing at that one.
I was
Lupita.
totally unexpected.
That
I did not
I know.
expect
I mean, I was like, Latinos for Trump, roaches for raid. It makes sense. It makes sense. But okay, we're talking about people's lives here. And that is, we got to be cognizant about people's life. On Quartz today, Sotomayor on DACA, she said, this is about our choice to destroy lives. And the article said the following: U.S. Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor is usually quick on the draw at oral arguments, peppering attorneys with questions. Today, however, she waited to weigh in. Only then make a scathing characterization of the government's case for rescinding the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, also known as DACA. Introduced in 2012, the Obama-era administration immigration policy protected some youth brought to the United States as children without proper documentation. The Trump administration rescinded it in 2017. The dispute before the court centers around two major questions: whether courts can even review the decision, and if so, whether the Department of Homeland Security legal memo supporting the about-face adequately justifies such a move. U.S. Solicitor General Noel Francisco is arguing that the decision to rescind is justified by the fact that DACA, which granted immigration officers discretion to not prosecute deportations of certain dreamers, exceeds presidential power, and contends that the memo supporting the decision adequately address all concerns. Sotomayor allowed almost everyone else on the bench to pose questions before she laid out her view that the government wasn't being straight. She believes it is claiming to be concerned about the legality of DACA and the importance of the law enforcement, but actually playing political games with major consequences. It's using the law as a pretext to harm a class of undocumented immigrants that she argues is harmless. Referring to the memos in question, Sotomayor said, where is the political decision made clearly? That is not about the law. This is about our choice to destroy lives. This is about our choice to destroy lives. Folks, I want you to think about that statement. Our choice to destroy lives. Donald Trump, in an effort to appease his base, who he first turned into bona fide, well, I shouldn't say he turned them into bona fide racists. He excited their racist acumens. He excited that racist piece that they were getting rid of over time because he needed that to win. So now he wants to give them some meat. The wall is some of the meat. Getting rid of DACA is the rest of the meat. Latinos for Trump. Are you kidding me? And by the way, it's not just about Latinos. It's about Nigerians. It's about Jamaicans. It's about Peruanos. It's about Ecuadorianos. It's about all these folks out here. It's not only about Mexicans across the border. It's about all these different nationalities that share the same thing. It should even be about Canadians, because there are a whole lot of Canadians here. But which cop is going to look at a Canadian and say, do you got your papers? ¿Tiene tus papeles? Not very many, are they? Not very many are going to look and say, hey, Canadian, do you have your papers? No, they won't. We know what it's all about. But I am going to go with the Supreme Court to some extent in this regards. Okay, President Obama had the choice to, since Congress did not act, to give some resolve to these immigrants who had their papers not straight. He had that option. And President Obama did the moral thing, and President Obama created DACA, okay, or supported DACA. But here's the thing, folks. Just like President Obama did that as an executive order, I am going to say something that a lot of people probably will get upset about. I think Donald Trump has the right to rescind DACA since it was an executive order as well. I think it is evil. And I think what has to be done, however, is enough of our Latinos, enough of our allies of Latinos need to come out there and let it be known that it is existential for his presidency if he comes against DACA. That is much more effective than begging the courts to say he doesn't have the right to do it when we said Obama had the right to do it, when we said other presidents had the executive right to do it. What we need is the power of the people. Most Americans support DACA, but most of the Trump voters don't necessarily support it, and that is who he is going for. So, folks, before we get on to the program on Deval Patrick and Bloomberg, I want to hit this up because this is Houston. We have a lot of DACA recipients here. This is Houston. Why don't I see the allies of those DACA folk running there with our brothers and sisters with Indivisible, Swing Left, and all the others that are trying to make this as an existential issue for the presidency of Donald Trump? You see, because Donald Trump is transactional. Donald Trump is simply transactional, sir, ma'am, brothers, sisters. He is a transactional president. If he went ahead and did the calculation, he said, you know what? A lot of people are not going to care about DACA, but my people do. A lot of Americans are not going to put themselves on the line because of DACA, but my people will. That's what he's betting on. He's betting that enough of us will be apathetic towards our Latino brothers and sisters out there that we just will let it slide. He is making the assumption that the Latinos whose families are hybrid, meaning some documented, some aren't, that the documented ones out of fear will not come out. They're hoping for their allies. Where are the allies? And to my Latino brothers and sisters out there, I must remind you, voting has consequences. Your vote has consequences. Every single Latino who has a relative on DACA, every single Latino, cualquier Latino que tiene las familias en DACA ahorita mismo, les voy a decir algo, I'm going to tell you something. Our lack of voting appropriately is directly responsible for those people, for our relatives who are thrown out of the country. Nosotros tenemos la responsabilidad por eso. ¿Ok? Si más de nosotros íbamos a votar en Milwaukee, if more of us voted in Milwaukee. Si más de nosotros votábamos en Detroit, if more of us voted in Detroit. Si más de nosotros votamos en Pittsburgh, en Pennsylvania, we wouldn't be fighting this battle. No estaríamos peleando esta batalla. So, folks, we have a fight now with Donald Trump. He has rescinded DACA. He has not, or they had not been able to implement it fully. But it is our responsibility to let it be known that if implemented, it will be charged in. It will be existential not only for Donald Trump, for all those in all these districts in Texas, for all those districts in Georgia. Remember all those darn peaches that are going to be on the ground in Georgia? Let's remember this, people. People have power. Many times we don't exercise the power that we have out of apathy, and it's something that we need not do. It is something we have to start impressing on all of us. Es algo que tenemos que recordar, algo que tenemos que hacer. All right, folks? So before I get into Patrick, I want to put an ode out there. Every single person, whether your name is Rodriguez or Johnson, and by the way, your last name don't necessarily tell you about, anyhow. You go out there and make that call. Let every single one of your senators and congresspersons know that in as much as Trump is going to win this case in the Supreme Court this time around, he will win it. So todos mis latinos que están escuchando, él va a ganar esta batalla en la Corte Suprema. He's going to win this one. So if we don't start acting today, si no comenzamos a actuar hoy, I can tell you one thing. Our relatives will be hunted down like dogs because that's what they like. What does Trump like to say? They're like dogs, right? Oh, yeah. Don't you forget it. This is not a game. Voting is not a game. Voting has consequences. Hay consecuencias. Sin votar, hay consecuencias. Without your vote, there are consequences. I'm telling you straight as it is. Okay, folks. Off my DACA soapbox. And let's get into what time it is. We don't have it, do we?
We can't play it because the computers aren't working.
Okay, so I'm going to play it like this. Guess what time it is? Da-da-da-da-da-da. Click, 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 click. It's time for the weekly blog post. All right.
Perfect. Couldn't even tell it wasn't the track.
See? Thank you for lying to me. Okay. The title of the show, or the title of the blog post, is Bloomberg and Patrick's reason for entering the presidential race is the height of presumption. Michael Bloomberg and Deval. And by the way, folks, after the blog, which isn't very long, please give us a call, 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. I'd love to hear from you. We want to hear from you because I want to hear not only about that guy, I want to hear about these guys, these presumptuous guys entering into the race. I have the blog. If you guys read the blog of the week that I already posted, I'm not done writing it. I came to the studio earlier to write it, and in talking to Juan and talking to other folks, I wasn't able to complete it later, but I had to post it so that I could get to the link. But anyhow, Michael Bloomberg and Deval Patrick believe the Democratic Party or the Democratic candidate field is not adequate. They must be our lords and savior. What could be the real reason? It was reported recently by the New York Times that Michael Bloomberg was privately contemplating running in the Democratic primary. They said, Mr. Bloomberg, the former New York City mayor and billionaire businessman, has been privately weighing a bid for the White House for weeks and has not yet made a final decision on whether to run, an advisor said. But in the first sign that he is seriously moving toward a campaign, Mr. Bloomberg has dispatched staffers to Alabama to gather signatures to qualify for the primary there. Though Alabama does not hold an early primary, it has a Friday deadline for candidates to formally enter the race. Why is Bloomberg running? This is why he says. However, Wolfson, a close advisor to Mr. Bloomberg, said on Thursday that the former mayor has grown uneasy about the existing trajectory of the Democratic primary. He said Mr. Bloomberg viewed President Trump as an unprecedented threat to our nation and noted the Democrats' heavy spending on the 2018 midterm elections and this week's off-year races in Virginia. However, Wolfson, a close advisor to Mr. Bloomberg, said on Thursday that the former mayor has grown uneasy about the existing trajectory of the Democratic primary. He said Mr. Bloomberg viewed President Trump as an unprecedented threat to our nation and noted the Democrats' heavy spending on the 2018 midterm elections and this week off-year races in Virginia must go. So, hey, folks, listen. What a presumption, eh? Well, it seems like he's running for real, as he has already registered in Alabama. And guess where he is today? The next place that needs to be registered, and that is Arkansas. And you know, a guy from Massachusetts going to Arkansas. He went to register, man. So I think Bloomberg may be official, unless the polls just come back and say it's impossible. But you know, billionaires, they think they can buy anything. Maybe that's true, maybe not. I'm not sure. And then there is, of course, former Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick is also considering running, according to the New York Times. Former Governor Deval Patrick of Massachusetts has told Joseph R. Biden and other Democratic officials that he is considering making a last-minute entry into the 2020 presidential race, according to three Democrats familiar with the conversations. The latest evidence of how unsettled the party's primary is less than 3 months before the Iowa caucuses. I digress from the blog for a second. How unsettled the primary is? The primary is vibrant. What's unsettling about this primary? That bringing two more plutocrats in going to change anything or going to make it better? Please tell me, how is this unsettling? And by the way, I'm going to have to smile a bit more when I'm saying these things because I went to a conference in D.C. and I met this millennial, and she was talking to me about how she's a hell of an activist. And she said what she's working on is what's called joyful activism. Joyful activism means as you're being an activist, have fun. So I am, as serious as I am having fun with our activism. Continuing with the blog. Mr. Patrick, a respected two-term governor and one of the highest-profile black leaders in the party, has told some of the Democratic officials that he doesn't think any of the candidates have established political momentum and that he thinks there is an opening for somebody who can unite both liberal and moderate voters, according to Democrats who have spoken to him. Really? He and some of his top advisors had a meeting Sunday in Boston to discuss what a campaign would look like, according to the two Democrats. And on Monday, Mr. Patrick personally began reaching out to potential staffers, telling them he was strongly considering a bid and asking if they'd consider working for his campaign. At the same time, Massachusetts Democrats close to Mr. Patrick have started contacting prominent party leaders in early nominating states to alert them that he may run. The presumption. It should not be surprising that these are the two guys that may run as the Democratic Party, the Democratic Party has become decidedly more progressive. The establishment of both parties are becoming more concerned. Why are they becoming more concerned? If you take a look at all these folks that are running for the presidency and you add up those who are running as purported progressives and those who are running as purported centrists, you see that the progressives well exceed them. So here comes two plutocrats. Of course, everybody should know by now. You know what Bloomberg does. He's a finance guy, news guy, all that kind of stuff out there. He wants to decide where America must go. Folks, by the way, the lines are open now. 713-526-5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. Give us a call. All lines are open. 713-526-5738. Anyhow, Bloomberg decides that this field does not look like the way a Democratic field should look like. And what does that really mean? What is it supposed to look like? There were polls that people were asked, are you happy with the candidates we have? And Democrats, I think by 90-something% are very, very happy or somewhat happy with the field of candidates. So why does anyone, phones ringing, why does anyone believe that somehow we need new entries? We don't. But it's a free market, or rather it's a free election, so feel free to come in. And of course there's Deval Patrick. Deval Patrick is coming in. Where does Deval Patrick come from? Yes, Deval Patrick was a very good and devoted governor of Massachusetts. But who does Deval Patrick work for now? Baines. You remember that Baines from the days of the guy who ran for president from Utah? Remember that Baines Capital? Well, how comes we get two finance guys now want to run for the presidency? Because Elizabeth Warren is going to tax wealth? Well, anyhow, I have a lot more to say about that, but for now, let me go. Line number 1, I don't have your name, but come on in. Line number 1, just say hello.
Hello.
Who am I speaking to?
This is Joe.
Talk to me, Joe.
I wanted to ask about the possible breakup of HISD because I'm a teacher, and we've been getting all kinds of rumors about they want to privatize it like they did in New Orleans and Michigan and so forth. And it's like just the first step is to get rid of all the current structures and privatize everything and have a corporate
let me tell you
system.
I'm glad that you asked that question. I'm glad that you asked that question, very much so. Let me first tell you that I don't have any specific information that says that is what they want to do, but here's what I will bet you. I will bet you that when that the people that they get to run the board, in other words, those people that they bring in with this emergency board or whatever they call them, suddenly these people are going, phones ringing, suddenly these people are going to start saying, a charter school here and a charter school there can actually solve our problems, or we can do it better than the public sector can, which is complete hogwash. Because the public sector, if we have an issue with the public sector in teaching, we fix it. We don't create, put our private or public dollars in private entities. So I don't have specific information, Joe, about that. But I can tell you that it's almost a 100% certainty. First of all, that given that we have a Republican legislature, and secondly, because of who's going to control it, that will be their attempt. But you know what?
Okay.
That can only happen. Hold on, Joe. One other thing. That can only happen if we don't engage as people. There is people power. And if we engage, they just cannot do it. Thank you so kindly, sir. Okay, line number 2. Come on in. Line number 2. Come on in. And folks, we have open line 713-526. 5738. Again, that number is 713-526-5738. Come on in. Oops, line number 1 just disappeared. Or line number 3 just disappeared. Call back at 713-526-5738.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Come on in.
Yes, I wanted to talk to you about this DACA.
Talk to me about it.
Well, they were talking the other day that statistically there's 63% of these new citizens don't even speak English or have a desire to learn English.
Okay. And let me ask you an interesting question. When the Pilgrims came over to America, did they decide to learn the native language or did they keep their own?
They kept their own.
Thank you. So, I mean, I don't have a problem with, first of all, I think everybody should learn English if you really want to succeed in this economy. I think they should. But I don't think it should be a requirement. Just like it was not a requirement for the Pilgrims when they came here and took over for them to go ahead and learn indigenous languages and indigenous culture. You see, we have a double standard, my friend, and I want to hear your input on this. So please stay on the line with me. Don't go. I honestly want to engage you on this because I think what you have to say is very important and it's been placed into a lot of people's minds without people getting a chance to really think it through. And I'm going to tell you this and then we'll ask for your response. And it goes as follows. When the Pilgrims came here, they didn't adopt the culture's phones ringing. They didn't adopt the culture that was already here. They brought their own culture and they made this country into their culture. And in fact, they annihilated the others. Okay? We took some, however, from those other cultures to learn certain kinds of farming, to learn certain kinds of skills. So I think it is not really in our best interest when we have other immigrants. It's a country of immigrants, of course. When we have other immigrants to really force it down their throats and put it as an accusation that you don't want to learn English, you don't want to adopt this culture, so you don't belong here. Why not? The persons who originally came here and settled America did not adopt the culture of the others, and I'd love to hear your response, sir.
Well, as you said, the economy supports English,
Mm-hmm.
and if these people don't want to learn English, they don't want to be part of the existing economy.
Okay, I mean, and that's not completely true, right? Because if you go into Little Italy, if you go into Little China, if you go into Little Vietnam, if you go into all these different subsections within the American culture, Oh, they can survive. I mean, there are people within each of these cultures that it'll do well to be bilingual, to be able to go out and adapt the majority culture, etc. It'll be great. It's great for that. But they can also live a pretty insular life within their communities if they so choose to do that. Now, I am the type of person I am. I like to adapt everybody's culture. So I'm going to go out there and I'm going to go to the Italian folks and I'm going to be as Italian as I need to be. I'm going to be as Latino as I need to be, and I'm going to be as Caribbean as I need to be. But everybody, I don't want to force that onto other folk. You understand what I'm saying?
I agree with you. I attempt to be bilingual myself, but these new people, they don't have any desire to learn anything about what is existing. They want to bring their culture.
Like we brought, like the Pilgrims brought theirs, right?
Yes, but this is what is good about America. We have an economy that's thriving.
Right.
And the reason they are fleeing is because their economy has failed.
Right. I don't want to go into a huge other subject about their failing economies, but I'll ask you to ponder something. I don't know if you're a regular listener to KPFT or not, but if you are, or a regular listener to Politics Done Right, I will urge you to keep up with, in fact, go to my website, egbertowillies.com or politicsdoneright.com, and sign up for a newsletter, because we talk a whole lot about things like this. Because what I think happened, my friend, is a lot, and all the callers that are on, I'm coming to you, is we've allowed folks like Fox News and even CNN and the others to kind of push narratives that kind of change our basic behavior, our basic humanity, if you will. And I think when we get that back, we'll be a lot more. And I hate the word tolerant, because I don't want to tolerate you. I just want to like you. You follow what I'm saying? I don't want to tolerate you. That's why I don't like the word tolerant. I just want to like folk. And if I can like somebody, I can start to like their culture and use that as an enhancement to my own. Anything else you want to add, sir?
No, I agree with what you're saying, but I don't think that the new immigrants are wanting to adapt to what is here. They're wanting to change what has been successful to what has failed.
I don't think they want to change it. Let me tell you what I want to change, sir. What I want to change is I want to change to make sure everybody here has equal access to success. Not equal access to outcome, but equal access to success. That's my goal. And the changes that you'd hear me talk about, where I talk about Medicare for all and all of that kind of stuff, is not to change the basic economic model of free enterprise. It's to change the basic economics that of winner takes all. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, well, we just have to agree to disagree, I guess.
That's fine, but let me tell you something, brother. Keep listening and talking, because you'll see that more than likely we're not all that different, all right?
Okay, well, I need you to come to my side, though.
All right, brother, we'll share sides.
Okay.
Take care now. Bye-bye. All right, let's go. I'm kind of lost with lines, so I'm going to just take them out. Folks, stay with me, because we don't have the stuff running the best. Which is the best line to take now? I'm going to take line number 3. Come on in line number 3. Just say hello and I'll know who it is.
Hello.
Okay, that's who is it? What's your name, sir?
This is my name's Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Dave on a cell phone. This is the first time I've called through this show. But look, I just got a couple things to say, and then I'll let you talk about it, because I don't think our opinions differ that much.
Okay.
But I just see that this stuff really needs to be said. Now, first things first, it's very, very simple. America, it is a nation of immigrants.
Yes.
Wake up, people. We're all immigrants, whether we got here 400 years ago or yesterday, okay? We're all immigrants. That's what makes us so great. Now, that being said, of course, Donald Trump needs to be defeated. But we need to beat these guys on their own terms, the same way they did. Not only does he need to be defeated, we need Democrats, progressives, liberals to win all the way up and down the ballot.
Yes.
They have people in place who basically say whatever they're going to say to get elected, and then they all vote the same way.
Yes.
Wake up, people. We need to defeat these people all the way up and down the line. And I'm going to let you talk about it because I know you'll be able to chime in very well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so kindly, sir. You have a wonderful day. Okay, look, folks, what he said, I can't really say it any better. He's absolutely right. Everybody have to go out there and vote, just like I mentioned before when I was discussing DACA. And you need to vote appropriately. You need to vote your interests, and you know where your interests lie. As a host, I don't really go and say vote XYZ specifically, but I just say go vote your interests. And if you vote your interests, you know where that is. So thank you so kindly, caller. I think you were very much eloquent for everybody else to hear it. So thank you so kindly for that call, sir. Okay, line number 4. Say hello and I'll know who it is.
Hector.
Okay, that's it. Talk to me. What's your name?
Yeah, I loved your response to the caller who made the comment about people who come to this country nowadays have no interest or inclination to want to learn English.
Right.
And your response, you asked him in a very respectful way about the people who came over here and took the land away from the Indians, that they want to learn the native tongue.
Right. Well, I mean, and you know, let me tell you something. What I want to say is, Johnny, is the following. I don't hold a lot of these people that come and say these things on air to me. I don't hold it against them for one specific reason. I understand all the cues that are coming into them, right? And the thing that I have to do as a host who wants to make a difference is to get to them and let them ask them the questions that they are asking themselves. In other words, when they ask, why don't that other person learn the language? We have to ask if that other person, what that other person is doing is all that uncommon. And it's not. As it turns out, when new immigrants come over here, they tend to, yes, sort of stick within their culture, their region of safety in a foreign land. As
That's
they
always
have
been the case.
Right. As they have kids, the kids go out, the kids integrate, and that's why you see it's the second and third generations that then start doing that. But what we have allowed to happen, John, is we have allowed those plutocrats to run politicians who use those things to divide people. My goal is not to increase the divide from a guy who has been programmed that way. My goal is to say, hey, brother, you are my brother, right? You are my sister, right?
Remember Peter King?
Yes.
The one who's resigning?
Yes.
Wasn't he the schmuck who said to the DACA girl, boy, you speak really good English?
Yes. Yes, she spoke better English than our president.
She had a better command of the English tongue than he did.
Yes. And, you know, so that is what we have to realize, Johnny. So what I'm saying, though, is this. If we really want to make a difference, what we're going to do, though, is we're going to talk to our fellow Americans, because what we have is another group of people talking to them in a manner to let them hate. We got to talk in a manner that make them not do that and make them realize that, hey, after all, damn, I'm just like you, and that's all.
I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
The gentleman who said at the end, I guess we'll just have to agree to disagree.
Yeah.
Was that the same gentleman who started the call with the objections of people not wanting to learn English?
Yes, he did.
So he was the same caller then who also put forth this idea that the economy right now is doing great. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Well, then I guess he and I will just have to agree to disagree that all those homeless people we see in major cities like San Francisco, Los Angeles, Houston,
yeah,
that's just a side effect of the great economic prosperity.
Well, let me tell you,
America.
you see, again, remember what I said, sources of information, and the reason why I don't tie on to, I try to stay to one subject when we're talking about one particular subject is,
his reality needs some fact-checking.
Right, but you're so
right.
You're so right, but here's what you tell him, right? And that is, that is another piece of the economic pie. You see, Fox News is making it look like these are things occurring in democratic cities caused by the errant democratic policy. We know it's not. But Johnny, I got to go. My lines are fully full, man.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, brother.
Matter, not in elections. Bye.
All right, buddy. All right, let's go. Line 1. Just say hello so I know who you are.
Hello.
All right. What's your name, ma'am?
Hi, it's Kathleen.
Kathleen, talk to me, my friend.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Good. Well, it was funny you were talking about DACA today because I went to buy a new mattress.
Mm-hmm.
And I met a young man named Mateus at the mattress store.
Uh-huh.
And his parents immigrated here from Uruguay.
Right.
When he was 4 years old.
Right.
And he is not a citizen.
Mm-hmm.
He's a legal resident.
Right.
But he was telling me a story that he applied to go to art school here in Massachusetts and had a whole host of scholarships,
Right.
enough to pay his tuition. And a couple of days before he was to move into the dorm, he got a call from somebody in the financial aid office who said, 2 of your scholarships you can't use. And he said, what are you talking about? And they said, we discovered that you can't use them because you're not a citizen of the United States.
Right.
So the man said to him, either you come up with $13,000 or
You can't enroll.
you can't go, or you can commute,
Right.
but you can't live on campus.
Wow.
So he, it really took the wind out of his sails,
Right.
and he decided to commute and not to give up on going
I am
to
happy he did
art
that.
school.
Yes.
But he was absolutely fantastic. I think we spent half an hour picking out my mattress and about an hour and a half sitting chatting.
That sounds like you, Kathleen.
We talked about Bernie, and he's like, "Oh, I can't believe I can't vote," and and but we had an awesome conversation.
Well, you know what, Kathleen? He chose the right person to have that conversation with. My lines are like super filled, Kathleen. You have anything else to say real quickly?
Well, I just also wanted to add, as far as Deval Patrick goes, he was a great governor.
Yes.
And I actually met him a number of times at the State House because I campaigned for my rep.
Right.
And it's funny because Massachusetts, is known as a blue state.
Right.
We're supposedly very progressive, but we elect very conservative governors.
Exactly.
Either conservative Democrats or Republicans.
You hit it on the nail. You hit it on the nail.
So, anyway.
Thank you
well,
very much,
you,
Kathleen.
Egberto.
You have a wonderful day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, come on in. Line 2, say hello.
Hello, Egberto.
Talk to me. Who do I have the honor of speaking with?
John, your friend, the Venezuelan.
Oh, mi venezolano. Háblame, hermano.
I really like your topic today. I just want to introduce one concept that I think that a U.S. immigration law does not consider.
Yes, sir.
That is the legitimacy by performance.
Okay.
Normally, if you are born in a country, of course, you are a national
Yes.
because of origin.
Yes.
But you can become a national of some countries by performance.
Right.
So if you move there and you live well, you pay your duties, and you're productive and a good citizen, after some time you are able to become a national.
I like the idea, but my question is, what about entry into the country? You're saying whether you come into the country legally or illegally?
Yeah, but let's use this. 65% of the immigrants 65% of the U.S. population is second or third generation of people that came in
True.
the U.S. by Ellis Island.
Yes.
So they are immigrants. Only 1% of the immigrants that came to Ellis Island were rejected. So
Right.
almost everybody that came from Europe mainly were received, and that's 65% of the U.S. population.
Yes.
So all these people became U.S. citizens by performance. They
Right.
all came here. They didn't have any visa, any process, like any sophisticated system
Right.
as it is today. But at the end, they behaved great, and this is what the U.S. is all about.
Correct.
Like using Ronald Reagan's final speech, saying you can go to live to France, but you will never be a French.
That is true.
You can go to China, and you will never be a Chinese.
Right.
But after you come to live in the U.S., after some time, you become an American.
Exactly.
And that's why I don't understand why the DACA recipients are not become Americans by performance.
You know what, Señor Ladrillo, Juan El Ladrillo, let me tell you, I am with you, brother. I am with you.
Thank you. And other thing,
Real quick.
about coming to this country and becoming American, and I adopt the culture of America. I do defend that if you emigrate to a country, you should become national and adopt the customs of that country.
Okay.
It's not the same as being a founder.
Okay, let me tell you something. It is. I hear you. I must respectfully disagree with you again, and I think by not, when you say founder of this country, right, Senor Rodrigo, you make it seems like the foundation of this country was a legal thing, a thing of niceties or whatever. The country was founded on violence. So please don't tell me, okay, it's different because the founders had special rights that you're not given to the rights of the new immigrants right now, because the new immigrants didn't come to conquer. The founders did. So if there's one set of people, in my humble opinion, that needs a break, it's the immigrants and not the founders.
Yeah, okay. But that's a topic for
another day.
Like a deeper conversation. But the point I need to point out is the identity of a country.
Yeah.
Regardless the origin of the founders of the, conquest or whatever, the U.S. or whatever country is an entity that the people of that place have a common identity,
and I want to stop you right there,
values.
John. I want to stop you. You're correct. First of all, in respect to the country having an identity, and that identity, phone's ringing, and that identity of the country, is placed within all the people that make up that identity of that country. So what I'm saying is by assimilation, as it is right now, most people who come to this country, the second generation of kids, you have kids, you and I have accents. Our kids are fully Americans who speak like any other Americans right here, and they, by inference, that's what they do. The ones that just came over many times don't.
Yeah, and that's perfect. What I don't defend is people going to countries and establishing ghettos and not melting.
That's for another day, because I don't know how many people say that about Italian, little Italia or little Germany or little, because we have that. Fredericksburg is a German town, okay, and it has German culture. I haven't heard a lot of people complain about Fredericksburg and all those parts of Texas, but we'll have to talk about that another time. As you see how America works, you'll see what I'm talking about. Nobody complains about Fredericksburg. Look it up and we'll talk about it later, Senor John.
Okay. Thank you very much, Berto.
Gracias,
you for
hermano.
your good job.
Bye-bye.
Congratulations for your award.
Thank you, sir. Okay, let's go. Line number 3. Come on in. Say hello.
Egberto?
Yes, that's Egberto.
Hey, Egberto, this is John. Hey, 3 quick points, sir. From a guy who's a Republican that kind of stands on the middle ground.
Yes, sir.
One, let's not sit there and just talk about how bad this country was. If we're going to say South America, that'd be like saying then everybody should be speaking Aztec and Mayans in South America.
True.
Yeah. But the other point, the Fox News is making a bunch of people like idiots and you see it on TV or internet, and people talking trash to foreign people, right?
Yes, sir.
Talking in foreign language.
Yes.
You got to understand one thing. This idiot's got to understand. America's, like especially Las Vegas, New York, certain parts of the city in the United States has a very high tourist visiting place, and you act like an idiot, screaming and yelling people. It just makes you look like an ugly American, screaming at these people. We have so many visitors, family visitors and tourists in this country. We are still the number 1 country at tourists.
Yes, I am with you, sir, and I don't think we have much of a difference as conservative as you are, sir.
Yeah, exactly. And third, my last point is, I think the problem is people forgot the history of this country.
Yes.
It was founded upon Northern white European.
Yes.
And yes, that is why, like you said, you had Germantown, you had Little Italy, you had Little Moscow, but they treated Southern and Eastern Europeans like crap.
Right.
They did not sit there and say, "Oh, we white people." That is such a lie. They used to say we have a Northern white European culture.
Thank you very much, my brother. I got to go. My phone lines are still full, and I only have 6 minutes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, buddy.
Bye-bye. Okay, line 4. Come on in. Say hello.
Oh, hi.
That's you. Yes, sir. Real quick.
Oh, hi. I think I'm a Democrat. But I agree with the conservatives on some issues like abortion, immigration, and I think English should be the official language of the United States. I think your argument that the Pilgrims didn't learn all the myriad of languages that they confronted when they first arrived. I think that's a baseless argument. We should have one official language that represents this country, regardless of who you are or where you're from. If you go to Germany, German is the official language.
No, that's
if you
true.
go to Mexico, you got to speak Spanish.
No,
if you go to wherever, I mean, it makes no sense to me. And I think the Democrats somehow arguing that we don't need to control our borders in a legal fashion, I think that's wrongheaded.
And it's not. And again, if that is what you hear us say, then you're not listening, my dear brother, because that is not. Democrats are not promoting open borders. That's a Fox News story. When you hear me talk about languages and so forth, and you say there should be one common language, there's nothing wrong with saying we have a business language in a country. But as a country whose constitution itself has free speech, it shouldn't matter what language your free speech is.
No one should try to control what language someone speaks in their home or among
I agree.
themselves.
So again, that's where I always tell people there's generally not a lot of difference in thought. It's always a difference in when we make it adversarial.
However, I propose official language because in the workplace,
yes,
they got away with you don't have to speak English in the workplace.
Right.
Well, that's a common area. No one is there because of family relationships. They're there because they're there to work. And so I've been in workplaces where there were a lot of Hispanics that speak in Spanish among themselves. It's intimidating. It's insulting.
And it's, you know what? I got to stop you there because I speak English and Spanish. I'm from Panama. It's not insulting or intimidating when I hear somebody speaking German. I usually look at it as, hey, I kind of enjoy that. What we have to do, sir, is change that cultural thing of nationalism. And when you change that, you'd be surprised how vibrant that seems and how powerful it makes a country.
So you think there should be no common language in the workplace?
No, what I said, in the workplace, we have to have it. The logical thing is for there to be a common language, and you're absolutely correct.
Okay, but that's not respected in the workplace. In the workplace, when there are many Hispanics, they speak Spanish among themselves.
Brother, I'm on talk. Listen, call earlier the next time, and I really want to engage you in more conversation, okay? I really do want to engage you in more conversation, so call me the next time, okay?
I'm a conservative Democrat, and there should be more of us.
And I love you, brother. Have a good one. Bye-bye. All right, line 6. Say hello.
Hello?
Yes, that's you. What's your name, sir?
¿Cómo estás?
Luchando con la vida. ¿Quién habla?
Sí, Ricardo.
Ricardo, talk to me.
Hey, I heard, I don't usually listen to your show, but I heard the one guy complaining about the economies that other countries have.
Mm-hmm.
Most of those economies, especially in Central America, are ruined because of the United States.
Okay, sir, guess what? I was going to say that. I didn't want to change the gist of the argument, the discussion, but you're so right on that. Go ahead.
Well, he said, I'm just, I'm making this short but brief. He should look at U.S. foreign policy before he comes on somebody's show and complain about the economies in somebody else's country.
I want to defend our callers in this regards. Our country, America, our country does not lend itself to people doing a whole lot of research and learning, and that's why we have Politics Done Right, and that's why I tell people what Politics Done Right is all about. So, sir, I thank you for being as smart as you are, because you are. But and the mere fact that you brought this to the conversation means that you have enlightened a lot of people on the show, okay?
Well, I also listen to the People's News, and you can learn a lot.
You got that right. You have that right, sir. You're absolutely right. Thank you so kindly for calling, sir. Bye-bye. All right, let's go. Line number 1. Come on in real quickly, sir. Or ma'am.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. Real quick. You only have about a minute.
Oh, wow. Okay. I tend to lean left. I have a very conservative household that I live with.
Yes.
And these talking points of open borders and
it's just that, talking
abolishing
points.
ICE always seem to be a conversational breaker, because I'm looking for cues from you on how to open that conversation up, because it seems to be a real deal breaker anytime that comes up.
What you do, first of all, when it comes to open borders, you point out that nobody wants open borders. It's not the truth. You have people that will say that, but we don't really support open borders. We want to have control. So it's something that we shouldn't even be talking about. So I don't have the time to continue right now, sir, but you can always go to politicsdoneright.com. We do the show daily on the internet as well. Give us a call in, okay, brother?
Thank you, sir.
You have a wonderful day. Bye-bye. This is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willies, and guess what? We are what? Out!
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is the progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. Remember, you can also send me a tweet to EGBERTOWILLIES. That is, at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is politics done right.
1, 2, 3, 4.